Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, and this is going to be episode 34, where my guest and I are going to be doing an after actions review of my Crowd Pleaser contest, the reality show where several male entertainers go head to head and get voted off the show to find out who is the last man dancing, voted off the show by you, the public. So without further ado, let me bring in my co-host, the man with the most inspiration, with a heart as big as his personality and his achievement and strive. And the reason why I think he's great, DJXL. What's up, brother?
Big heart, huh? Is that a fat joke, you bastard? I'm just playing. It's playing. Thank you very much for having me again. It's always an honor to be here. You definitely, when you do something, Caesar, you do it right. And by gosh, you're doing it right on this podcast, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. It is always a pleasure to be here.
It's going to be a good show. I can tell already. Damn, he's majestic.
Ah, yes.
All right. Well, a couple of things. First, if you are joining us, thank you so much for listening in. We appreciate it. Definitely check us out on patreon.com/crowdpleaser. It's a great way to give me feedback. I pay attention to those people. If some new people subscribe, I'll send you out a thank you card personally signed because I think it's great. Puts you in the raffles for various giveaways we do and stuff like that. And it's just a cool place to hang out. I post all the pictures from all my photo shoots and stuff like that, even the ones that don't go public. So check it out. Once again, patreon.com/crowdpleaser. Next, I want to give a shout out to Tanya Tulsa and Nicole Ann. Both of these great people left reviews and ratings on iTunes on this podcast. Really appreciate it. It lets me know I'm doing a good or bad job. Doesn't matter if it's a great review or a horrible one, but please leave a review. It makes a big difference to me, so I know what I need to adjust on the show, as well as just getting the word out and name out to people. So definitely share on your social media, tell your friends, pass it along. The more people that tune in, the better it is for both the industry and myself and everyone involved. And hey, at the very least, you get to kill some time on your commute to work and back home after. So once again, thank you again to Tanya Tulsa and Nicole Ann. Next, we have La Bear Dallas and Hardbody San Antonio. Both are respective clubs. La Bear Dallas, it's in everyone's repertoire. At some point, they should have heard it because someone in their family has been there, whether it was last weekend or not for a very long time. But it was a great time. You definitely need to come back. The number one ladies' destination for all things birthdays, bachelorette parties, divorce parties, celebrations, job promotions. You know it. We've got it. XL, let them know about Hard Bodies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just like Dallas, LeBear's killing in Dallas, San Antonio Hard Bodies, man. We go all out 5 nights a week. Definitely show a lot of bachelorettes, birthday girls, heck, even divorcees. We show them all a great time. No matter what you're celebrating, or heck, if you're just having a girls' night out, you need to de-stress and just let the week just float away with some good entertainment, some good-looking men, and some strong drinks. Hey, San Antonio Hard Bodies is where it's at.
I like it. All right, last thing on the docket is going to be my Red charity event and lip sync battle. This is August 17th at La Bear Dallas. It's a good cause, plain and simple. You come in, you dress in red, you donate some school supplies. For elementary grades is preferable. I pick out a school or two of underprivileged children. A lot of them get support from the government and stuff like that, like free lunches. And I pretty much donate. We did a phenomenal job last year. I pretty much filled up an entire SUV full of supplies. I got there, and the faculty that helped me unload the truck, some of them were even in tears. They were so appreciative. So thank you, everyone that donated last year, and thank you ahead of time to all the people that are going to donate this year. Definitely come out. It's a great time. The guys are in good spirits, and we're going to do a lip sync battle. It had a lot of success last year, so we're bringing it back. Dudes are dressing up. Dudes are putting together great shows, and it's just a good all-around good time that, I mean, your ribs are going to hurt and abs are going to hurt from laughing so hard. So remember, once again, my Red Charity event, August 17th.
Yeah, and whether I can make it out or not, I'm definitely going to be donating as well. So I'll send you a care package if I can't make it out. But my question is this: if by the grace of the gods I can get a Friday night off, can I be in the lip sync battle if I show up? That's what I want to know.
I am almost insulted that you even have to ask, my brother. I mean, all what you have to do is be like, hey, I want to go up after so-and-so, and I will make it happen for you.
Ooh, I might just have to make an appearance. Might have to make an appearance, man.
Give me the vision, and I will manifest this on that stage, good sir.
Yes, good.
I mean, you guys had a lip sync battle 2 years running now at your place, right?
Yeah. We've had some ladies asking us when this year we're gonna do it. We've been so busy, man. I haven't had a chance to, but I'll sit down with my brother Juice and we'll figure it out. It's always fun. We always have a good turnout. It's always a great bunch of laughs. The guys go, all in, and it's always just a good time, man. Just fun vibes. Just all around, just a happy go luck event. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and it's yet one more reason for us to try to one-up each other.
Yes, indeed.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and dive right into this week's topic. So you and I were pretty much the orchestrators of the Crowd Pleaser contest. It was my brainchild. Of course, I knew it started off with it being simply the idea of me having a remote strip-off, a way where guys can compete against each other. Initially, I just wanted to do one night remotely, so we could cut out the travel, we can get more people involved. And slowly but surely, one thing led to another, and it morphed into creating a mesh up between So You Think You Could Dance, American Idol, and Magic Mike, which thus spawned the Crowd Pleaser contest. I reached out to guys from various clubs, but the biggest following was from supporters and volunteers were from La Bear, Dallas, and San Antonio Hardbodies. So we decided that you and I were going to go ahead and be our respective team leads to make everything happen, get the filming done, get the content that we needed for the show, and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, brother, it would have not been possible without the help of one of my good friends. I'll just leave it at Julie. She did a great job kind of getting the logistics part of it and supporting the show with her photography and things like that. Absolutely. And you. And it was pretty much you two that brought the show to fruition. And I really appreciate you guys for that. We make great things together, you know what I'm saying? And I consider it success, but I just wanted to take the time to acknowledge that without you or her, it definitely would have not happened, especially across city lines. So thank you for that. What was your well, anyways, real quick, we're going to pretty much just, like I said, do an after actions review. We're going to go over the high points, the low points. What have we learned? What have we got from it? Some of the behind the scenes things of what we had to go through and whatnot. So with that, let's go ahead and start off with give me your take, or give the public your take on it when I first approached you with this idea. You don't have to get too in depth on it, or you can. It's up to you. We got no time limit, brother, man.
Well, I was giddy like a schoolgirl, man. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to be a part of something cool? And again, we were breaking the ice. We were, planting the flag in undiscovered country here. We didn't know how it was gonna go, um, but part of the journey is the visualization of like what you see, and man, when you approached me about this, I was just thrilled. First of all, I was honored just that you were asking me to help you. I mean, I'm not the only guy down in San Antonio, and it's just it was just it was. I was like, dude, this is really gonna happen. Like we had locker room talks about reality shows, and oh, we should do this. Everyone talks about it. Everyone talks about it, and the fact that you were actually stepping up and saying, hey, I don't want to just talk about it. I want to be about it. I was all for it, man. I was down.
Yeah, and it showed. Like I said, you were there to asking me, hey, what do you need from me? And it's funny that we were talking a little about it behind the scenes earlier before the show, but the fact that it's difficult sometimes when you have a vision in your mind, trying to express that and share that vision with other people to capture that vision as well. You know what I'm saying? And it took a lot of, I guess, initially growing pains where you and I spoke a lot about what I wanted to do. And then the next step to make sure, because even then we could talk till we were blue in the face. It still wasn't until you can creep into my brain and see what I wanted to do. Um, there was still some conflicts and nothing major, but it got to the point where I was like, hey, let me record what I need from my guys, send it to you so you can see what my vision is. And then you collect the same thing a day later. And I feel like that really brought us on the same sheet of or got us on the same sheet of music, where then it was just like, cool, give me a checklist of what you need for this week and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. It's always good, when you have something, especially with something like this, is something very visual, and when it is somebody's um, creative baby, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Every to keep the metaphor going. Every parent parents differently. So this is you showing me I'm coming into your house. This is how it's going down. This is what you want. Okay, cool. Let's make it happen. So it was definitely good that we did that. Did you thought of that? You were able to show me what you wanted, and it did. Once I saw that, I was like, okay, this is what he expects. This is what he wants. All right, time to crank it out. Let's do it.
Yeah, and the good thing is that after the well, I might be getting ahead of myself, so we'll talk about the first episode in a minute. The next thing that I want to say that we learned, and we both, I feel like you and I both knew this going into it, but it exponentially became a greater thing, and it was definitely a surprise for the guys, was just the amount of commitment that this project required. Like, I knew it was going to be a time sink. I just plain simple knew it. And I warned all my friends that I was like, look, while this is going on, I'm probably not going to have any free time because I'm going to be directing. I'm going to be motivating. I'm going to be helping. I'm going to be editing. And I've never edited anything like this before. And so it was learning as I go, trial by fire, like I do everything else. And I feel like that was a big toll on everyone that was a part of the show.
Yeah, it definitely took up the way we had it set up. It definitely took time, and it was trying to have everyone on the same page all the time as far as schedules go, to like, okay, we need to shoot this, okay, we need this. It definitely took some creative thinking on my part, um, to accomplish what we needed to here. Because we're not just like I can go in the car and I'll meet you in San Marcos, which is 30 minutes away, or Austin, which is an hour away. Like you're 5 hours, like 4 to 5 hours away. You know what I'm saying? And we both work a lot, not only at our clubs, but we also have other stuff going. So it's not like we can just meet up anytime, and be like, hey, yo, blah 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 blah. So to be able to get everything we needed from everyone we needed it from, um, yeah, man, it was definitely Definitely a learning experience to say the least. And it was definitely, it took some creative thinking on, I think, both our parts, if I'm going to be completely honest. 'Cause like I said, we are both pretty much in the same boat. It's trying to corral different human beings with different lifestyles and different schedules all at one location at the same time for an extended period of time, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%, man. It was an eye opener for both of us. So we sat with all the guys. We got everything together. Once again, I felt like you and I were probably talking to dudes so we're blue in the face to for people to understand the concept when we're like, look, we need you to stand here. We're gonna take the camera, do this, and then we're gonna need you to do that. Okay, this is what the challenge is. This is how it's gonna work. And uh, it's still, I think, until, and then the thing is, you and I were really good about keeping it hush hush until the debut, both for spectators as well as for the guys. Like, I wanted it to be exciting for the guys as well. I had offered initially to give them a private viewing ahead of time, but they declined, which I was cool with that. And so the release came, and it was funny because the guys were nervous. Like, the guys were a little antsy to see what their hard work was going to produce, as well as how this was going to go, because the first episode was going to go live with no one seeing it. So we went from, maybe two of my proof watchers to double check it to all of a sudden it being on the open internet for everyone to see. And you guys were not able to have a premiere, but we did, and it was spectacular to get that instantaneous feedback of people's faces as they were watching, the anticipation of people coming to Le Bear just to see the premiere before doors to the actual club opened for dance hours and whatnot, and seeing the guys come in and watch, even the guys that weren't a part of the show. Tell me a little bit of how you felt and what the guys said and the vibe of the women after the pilot aired.
Um, yeah. So, side note, yeah, it did suck that we didn't get to have a premiere. However, now we are capable of doing that. So, if we do progress to a season two, we can have a premiere of season two now. But corrected that. But back to what you're saying, man. Just the vibe, man. I mean, everyone just kept asking me, like, like some people wanted little tidbits information. They wanted spoilers. I'm like, I ain't gonna tell you nothing. You just gonna have to watch like everybody else. And then after everyone watched, they were like, dude, that's really cool. It's awesome. We did have, with everything you get good, feedback as well as some constructive criticism, which what I think actually helped us too, because like I said, this is the first time anything like this is being done. This is the first time, and we're not a big network. We don't have tons of people to with tons of experience and schooling for this type of stuff, unlimited funds. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, it was definitely, I got a lot of positive feedback. People were really excited. They were like, I can't wait to see like who, because the way we were doing it, people, the audience was allowed to vote who they thought, was the best. And, they were anxious to see like, oh, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who won? It really set the tone. And like everyone would always, I would get a message, hey, I'm watching the crowd pleaser now. Hey, I'm watching the crowd pleaser. Like I just out of nowhere, just like, and it's on YouTube, so everyone watches, at their, if they can't all watch at the same time. I'm getting like, so I'm telling you, like I'm getting random, just hey, that was a great episode. Y'all did really good. Like, oh my god, I can't believe it went down like that. Like, it was good, man. The first episode definitely set the tone. So it was nice. It was definitely nice for us not having experience doing anything like this, and it being, like new ground being explored. It definitely was awesome, man.
Yeah, it's really, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the premiere, and you hit the nail on the head, was for that feedback, both good and bad. I have very thick skin, and as long as it is creative criticism and it has value, then I could pretty much, you could tell me whatever you want, and I will happily take it. And it was great to get so much feedback right away, and then as the show progressed. Now, while we are talking about feedback, I'll go ahead and segue into this to one of my biggest gripes about the show. And so, and I'm not knocking the people that gave me this critique, because I know you got it as well, and I don't even think it's a critique, but the the I wouldn't say one of the biggest, because it wasn't. It was more common than others, but I don't think it was the biggest complaint or piece of feedback I got, was when people were upset about how someone got voted off the show that they didn't feel should have been voted off the show.
Oh God.
And I'll tell you why this bothered me so much. I mentioned that it was a mesh between American Idol. And my idea, my thought process was to, and this is for the listeners' benefit, because I know you know this already, but that I wanted to have the people vote, because it was a strip off type event. And that's one of the things that I felt made American Idol so popular, is that your vote matters. And so it would spread like wildfire, because people were like, hey, my entertainer's up on the chopping block, help vote for him and share and etc. And so when people were like, oh, I think it's messed up, like so and so shouldn't have gotten voted off the show this week, I was like, you realize that it was 100% in your hands. I had no control over that. In fact, just as a double safety, I would screenshot the results and then shoot them over to you so you could see them. And the person with the lowest votes got voted off the show. So I was like, look, the only person you have to blame is you for not supporting the guy and promoting. And it actually is one of my pet peeves about the show, because of the fact that I thought that was going to be one of the things that made the show the most popular, when in reality you saw the numbers of the amount of votes that we were getting. And
Right.
I feel like it was extremely disproportionate to how many people were actually watching the show. And I don't want to talk numbers, because I don't know, part of me feels like I don't want the guys to discount their hard work because of how many people participated in the voting. But it was a big difference. And you can make the argument that, oh, well, today's age, you have to make voting easy and this and that. I'm like, you literally, it is the first line of the description on the YouTube channel, or the video. You click that, you scroll to the bottom, click a name, you're done. And so it bothered me. It really did. Like, that will be one of the things that bothered me, because of the fact that these guys were working so hard, and people complain about competition results all the time. And this is the purest form in which to hold things accountable. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it just didn't pan out. So that was one of my things. Do you have anything to say about this topic, or do you have something else that might have kind of been irking you throughout the season of the show?
Well, I will piggyback on this just for a second. You're absolutely right, man. I mean, definitely was. I would get messages, like making me feel like bad for a second, like, how could so and so be voted off, or I don't think so and so should have been. It should have been this person. I'm like, and I felt bad, but then I was like, what the? Hold on, why am I feeling any kind of remorse? Like, you know how many times when people want something, or they're trying to win something online, like post your post a couple pic, and the couple with the most likes on their picture wins, and people go out of their way. Like, if you really want someone to win, like if you're saying you care about someone and you want them to succeed, like just you know just, uh using someone for example, like Mandingo, like, oh, we love Dingo, and oh, we're gonna vote for him, and like, you can tell your friends to vote, even if they don't want to watch it, okay, because it's not everyone's cup of tea. I understand that, okay, but if you just, they don't have to watch it to vote. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? They could have gone the extra mile. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, my friend is doing this, or hey, this guy I think is really cool. I think he should win. He's in a competition. Can you at least go show some love and vote? You know what I'm saying? Or watch this and vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it obviously didn't. It didn't happen that way. And you're right. I don't want to bring up numbers. I don't want to do all that. It is what it is. But like, that definitely was a gripe of mine. It's just like, don't tell me so and so should have won. Like, show me. Don't you know what I'm saying? Like you're telling me like I had anything like I didn't run the scores. I didn't rig it. Nothing was rigged. It was all automated. Like
Mm-hmm.
you went to the site, you pressed a vote, and it was registered, and then at the end of the vote time, we got the results.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that it was hard having to send somebody home because they were
Yeah.
one or two votes shy of
Oh,
somebody else. You know what I'm saying? When I would love if every week the votes were 50, 100 vote difference, and that would make me feel a lot better about it. Because, yeah, it was hard being like, hey, man, I'm sorry you got voted off the show by 2 votes, you know? Um, and by that, I mean 2 votes less than the next highest person or whatever. Like I would have probably thrown my computer if we were literally like 2 or 3 votes per episode.
oh
And
God.
I know it was a participation thing of everyone because the final episode, the finale, we actually I think tripled the amount of voting that we got normally.
Yeah.
So that almost was it was a good thing because I'm glad that we finally got people to participate, but then at the same time it kind of upset me a little bit because I was like, where the heck was all this, throughout the show? So
Right.
um but such is life. And actually on that one note, I will say that I actually did enjoy it a little more when people started to disagree with our not yeah with our judging. I i actually kind of liked that a little more because I felt like it sparked a little bit more passion, a little more conversation than the first couple episodes, where I will admit I did have us judging a little bit longer on the show than most reality shows when I went back and started to pay attention to that. And people
Right.
just agreed with everything we said. And I felt like it was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they're right. And move on. Versus like when someone was like, well, I think this song was great. Or like, that was definitely sexy. Or like, no, that was too much. Like that sparked good conversation. And I actually enjoyed that aspect of it, even if some of it was negative towards me. It's like whatever. I have my opinion, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, definitely. Like I agree. I agree with you 100% on that. Like it's always good, man. I don't understand. See, I was it's funny. It's funny you bring this up because I was just having a conversation with my bartender at the club before I left, and I was I was saying when did it become bad to have an opinion different than everybody else's? You know what I'm saying? If it's not hurting anybody, like when did we become where it's like, oh, you have to uh, agree with my way or you're wrong and no, like this is what I'm saying. Like, and so when you bring that up, it's actually very good because whether they were agreeing with you or agreeing with me, like you and I had our opinions. You and I said what we felt was right. We have the experience. We're doing everything, and the guest judges we had, and even some of the ladies that were viewing, like because I even got some comments like, hey, you were a little. Some ladies thought I was a little too hard on some people, and or one episode I was ruthless. I actually got a message like saying that I was the Sopranos or something apparently
wow.
I did really hard in one episode. I was like, hey man, I just call it like I see it. But it does spark good conversation, and I feel that when something like when there's a performance and we can both agree, okay, that was outstanding, then great, let those performances happen.
Hmm.
But there
Hmm.
is going to be times where we don't see eye to eye on stuff, which happened during the season, and I think it's great, man. I think that a little difference of opinion actually kind of helps it out. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree. And the thing is cool too is that I mean they don't understand like unless you were on the Patreon and got to see the full judging videos because they are on there. I posted everything that we talked about in the judging. Man, you and I and sometimes our guest judge spent like a good 15-20 minutes trying to figure out who the winner was. Um,
Yeah.
because it was just too difficult. Like we didn't have a point by point score sheet, which I didn't, that's not, it wasn't that important. Um, but yeah, so like a lot of thought went into it, and sometimes we did disagree, and sometimes we both just agreed too much. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
So it was great. I enjoyed it a lot, and I wouldn't have changed that part of it for the world. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I feel you, brother.
I mean, it was tough. There were some times where I wish I could have just been a pure host and let other people do the judging, but I learned a lot, and I hope that the guys enjoyed the feedback that we gave them. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see something else that was an issue on my behalf. Oh man, learning Premiere and editing. Oh man, the amount, I can't tell you how many times for like the first two, maybe three episodes, I would spend 3 hours editing something and be like, sweet, I'm done. And then play it, and it was like a minute worth of footage. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh. And then the times where I had to undo button the heck out of something because I messed up. Um, towards the end of the show, I started to get my sea legs under me, so to speak, and was cutting and pasting and editing and modifying properties like a champion and doing transitions. And like, I was really proud of myself. But I even had my little cheat sheet of like hotkeys and things like that to do when I couldn't quite remember something. But man, I was all over YouTube, learning how to do things because I would envision in my head something that I wanted to do, or watching reality shows to see how they do the music. They judge or gauge the transitions, what parts they focus in, what parts they don't. So the editing process, oh man, that was grueling. Just so many hours behind a computer screen as a hobby. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for a hobby. So that was grueling. I know you were there too, because the amount of footage that you had to capture and then upload for me on a time hack on a deadline was grueling. I know it, especially after like a Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah. And as someone who, like I said, I'm just getting into Premiere, sir, I thank you for your service. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that alone, um, because it is a grueling process. Like I stated in another podcast, I sent you a sample video of what I did, and the video is only a minute and a half, but it took me 3.5 hours just to make that, just to make a minute and a half. So I'm so sorry you had to go through that alone, because that is, yeah, it's ridiculous when you're just starting out. But yeah, man, the footage, yeah, like there's like I'm constantly in contact with the guys and be like, hey, okay, I know it's gonna suck, but we're staying late tonight. I've got the keys to the club. We're good. Notified the bosses. My boss is always, okay, just make sure you turn off the breakers and, turn the alarm on when you leave. I said, all right, I got it. So yeah, man, after, Friday night, Saturday night, and I tell them, I was like, look, the faster y'all work with me, the less time we actually have to stay here afterwards or come early. But sometimes stuff just didn't go as planned, man. And yeah, we're doing it Saturday after work, Friday after work, Thursdays after work, coming in early Wednesday before work. Anytime we could get it in, like I said, man, earlier, it's trying to fit the schedules and then meet the deadlines. It was a nightmare. I don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm, definitely proud to be a part of this. And, but yeah, it was a pain in the ass to try to get
Yeah,
all done.
no, I totally agree. I don't regret it one bit. It's great to have that notch in my belt. The one thing I will add though is now that you're in Premiere, be careful because excuse me. One of the issues I was having, which is once again only on me 100%, was I was still doing the podcast at the time, and I was using Adobe After Effects for some of the stuff in the show, like the lower thirds and stuff like that, and the intro. And so one of the things I ran into, which I don't know why this happens, considering that they're all three Adobe programs, but I use Adobe After Effects, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, and Adobe Audible, and they all have different hotkeys. So like if I was using, let's say I'd spend the day editing the reality show, so I'll get used to those hotkeys and things like that and the mouse movements. and then I'll go to edit a podcast and I'll mess it up for the first 15 minutes because I'm just hitting the wrong hotkeys. And oh man, talk about frustration.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
know, brother. I know.
but
I know.
So while we're on the topic of footage, the stereotype kicked in, man. I tried to warn guys. You know me, I'm a realist. I let guys know that it's a big commitment going into it. This is what I'm going to need. We're going to be on a deadline because we're going to do live voting. And I mean, dealing with strippers and time hacks and deadlines, man. Like, I wanted to yank my hair out so many times. The bright side to that, though, is the reward I got when we did finally get to record things and see the shows that these guys were putting together for the reality show. It was just mind blowing. I'm like, yeah, you guys deserve to be on this show. You guys are entertainers, and this is fantastic. It was just a matter of getting them to the point where they would do it. That, oh man, sometimes really.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It definitely, yeah, we definitely did hit that. And you're right, man. Just it was like I said. At times, it was a headache. It was horrible dealing with it, but the end result was great. Like, I mean, a lot of those guys, like all the guys, did great work. But there's certain routines that stand out from certain episodes, and when you get stuff like that, like footage that comes together like that, it sticks with you. It definitely makes it worthwhile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the biggest things I was trying to do when I was editing, is just making sure that I was doing right by the guys, like take the work. Oh man. Oh, okay, so it's getting late. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It I just wanted to make sure that I was reciprocating the amount of effort that they were putting in this show and making them look as good as I could. And you're right, man. Like, geez, just some of the shows these guys put together, they didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool because you can catch it in the raw footage, like behind the scenes of like these guys would perform, and as soon as they're done, you hear all the other guys in the background like, you need to do that on Saturday night, and
Yeah.
that's how you dance. That's how you dance. Like, so it was really cool to see that kind of creativity spurt, like just raw talent and creativity. Yeah, it was great, man. It was great. What's another positive you had during the show?
Um, I like how it challenged my guys. Um, like it's for example, Christian was he made it all the way to the final two, and which was amazing because Christian just has barely over a year under his belt in this industry, and he actually, when you would give feedback, he would pay attention and he would come talk to me, and he would give me his thoughts, and then he would ask me my opinion, and he said, I listened to what Caesar was saying, and we talked and stuff like that, and I think it really helped him grow in the right direction, as far as being an entertainer. Um, Definitely like some of the stuff we gave, the guys the challenges, like we want something theatrical, we want something incorporating this. I think it really kind of pushes, and then maybe even doing a music genre that they're not comfortable with or don't do on a regular basis, pushing people outside of their comfort zone to be as creative as possible is always a good thing, because you're going to end up with some really great stuff in the end. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the growth that we saw throughout the show was very rewarding, as well, and it was something that we weren't really anticipating because we just considered everyone great.
Yeah.
Let me see. For me, it was cool to have the show kind of bring people together. Both the guys talking about the show, especially when they kind of saw each other competing. As soon as one guy like really brought something, people were like, well, hold on, I might not be ready to film today, because they just wanted to bring something a little more. and the women getting behind it and kind of creating this subgroup of people that go to LeBaron and Hard Bodies, that it was the people that are there for the great show, and then those same people, but within them there's a smaller group of people that watch the reality show and following it like a cult following type thing. And that was really cool to see that kind of happen and create another level of encouragement and support for people. Yeah, it was just great, and it really helped me push myself to make a better show. The I guess man, I was gonna do a best and worst event for the reality show, but I feel like we're just gonna keep talking about best and worst things about it, so we might be good. But like, so one of the things that was really disappointing to me is that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a realist. I did not expect the show to be the next best thing since sliced bread, but I was really hoping, because we were doing something different and I feel like we had the right recipe for success, that it would have become a tool that would inoculate hundreds and thousands of people to the industry over time. Like, once again, I was expecting it to happen overnight. But I really thought the voting thing was going to have people share the cause, and then it being a good tool for people to show, like, hey, I know you're worried about going to a male strip club, but watch this show and see what all they do, and kind of pull the curtain back as to what we do. And it happened, but at a much smaller scale. And I feel like that was a little bit of a disappointment. Not necessary to one of my projects, like my reputation, so to speak, because you got to be able to deal with non-successes to find that one major success. And I don't mind, because I learned a lot, and I said I accomplished something that I set out to do. But, everyone just worked so hard on it. I really hoped it would have helped our industry. And I think it has, just significantly smaller. It never went viral. No big YouTuber or person kind of shared it to really kick it over or platform. That being said, the flip side to that is the fact that it's on the internet now forever. So we can reference that for all of eternity. If once we all pass away and die, if no one's made another reality show, someone in 3015 can be like, oh man, check out what strippers used to do back in the day, and watch the show. And so even now, it's guys are getting some feedback from, oh yeah, I saw you on the show, or like, hey, if you want to know what Jason does, check out the show. And or like you mentioned, Christian, like, look at Christian's first year on stage type thing, and it'll be there, and it will continue to promote our clubs and our guys and our industry for as long as people check in.
Right. No, yeah, I definitely agree, man. And you know what? To touch base on it, I don't think that, like, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, or as far as like what you were expecting, but yeah, you're right. It did help us, because we have guys like, hey, I saw you on the crowd pleaser, I saw you on the show, and I think it did help. What I think what the problem was is that, like I said, it was us just being, we were green, we were new, we were rookies to this. Our first episode was like an hour and a half long, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't realize that we were talking too long. We didn't realize we were judged. Like now, when it came to editing and this and that, see, now I think that we have a much better understanding of what we needed to fix, how we can fix it, and how everything could be more smoothly as a whole, as far as production goes. If we were to do a second one, but I mean, it was, to me, it will always be a great success. And you're right, it will always be on the internet, unless they shut down the internet, and take everything away. But it will always be there, man. And it is always something that I am definitely going to be proud that I was like, I can say, like, yeah, I was a part of that. Like, that is definitely something that I'm definitely happy to have, in my portfolio. Like it was an awesome experience, and yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, and it gets the point. It gets so many different points across, which I was really, that would probably be the happiest thing for me is the fact that it really did what it was meant to do, where it let people get an inside scoop and become more personable with the entertainers. It let other people understand all the effort we put into our shows. It showed people what we do, why we're more than just getting naked. Uh,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's so many facets that it touches on, which is great, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I guess it just, yeah, it's just rewarding. And the fact that we could say it, like for the rest of our lives, you and I can say that we made a reality show from
yeah,
scratch on our
yeah,
own.
yeah.
You know, it would be great if somehow Fox or Sci-Fi or someone caught wind of this and we could redo it with a bunch of funding, or they buy it and just air it. Because I guarantee you, you know, 1 week in YouTube's, or not YouTube, Netflix's recently added list would just blow the show up. Um,
Oh,
which I have done the research to that, but you know, I'm not gonna talk about that without the air. It's just more funding and more networking and stuff like that that has to happen. But yeah, it's done. I could. It's another thing I've created, and I'm so happy with it. I hope it inspires people across the board, you know, other entertainers to step up, people that want to be entertainers, ladies that were debating about coming to the club, owners that weren't quite sure on how to reach out to other people. I mean, it was fun. It's cool to like you said, when people were messaging you saying, "Hey, I'm sitting down to watch the crowd pleaser contest right now," or you know, "Hey, what are the results? Do we know yet?" Like that's cool to know that you designed something that has an ongoing hype, because we initially wanted to release it Sunday afternoons before The Walking Dead while people were home already sitting in front of their TV.
right.
And it's cool because with smart TVs and things like that, you click on YouTube on your TV, you maximize it. All of a sudden, you're watching the reality show on your TV. Like I thought that was kind of neat. So,
Yeah, heck yeah.
um, let's see. Oh, growing pains. Oh man, the music rights thing. Tried to do things by the book. Tried to get music rights. Tried to find out where I could get, independent music. Tried to see about asking permission with the companies. Oh, it was just such a debacle of me trying to do the right thing that it wore me out. I'm not even gonna lie. Tell me a little bit about that from your end, because I know you were dealing with it a lot. I know it was probably even more frustrating for you because you're like, Caesar, why are you making this so difficult?
No, man, I can definitely understand your pain and suffering. 'Cause, like I didn't even know this until recent that uh, my bosses actually pay like ASCAP or whatever it's called and stuff like that
Yeah.
so no one gets sued or anything because we use other people's music to to make acts and entertainment and stuff like that. So I mean, God,
Yeah,
I
they
mean, if
have a blanket license for clubs and stuff that play other popular music. So it kind of covers that entity, which I tried to get that for the show. We didn't qualify for, but yeah.
oh God, uh, but like yeah, man, it's because even just trying to find like okay, they're like, oh, I want to do this song, and they'll hear it on Spotify, but then like I download music from YouTube. And so YouTube is very strict with some artists. Like they won't let you, no matter what website you use, they won't let you take the video, or you can't find the original version. Like Drake, the moment Drake drops a song, if you are not pulling it off YouTube within the first like 6 hours, you're not gonna get the original until like years down the road. Okay, it's all gonna be covers by people. So I mean, if just finding music that they wanted to perform to was a headache enough, I can only imagine what you had to go through as far as like, okay, can I use this? Can I use that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, And I totally understand because a lot can happen. Someone could be like, "Oh, we're using my song for your own self personal gain. It's my property. You should be paying." Like, I mean, there's a lot of crap that it in the entertainment world that people have to deal with. So when you said we if we could choose from this library that was improved, great. If not, you would do your best to make it work. And you did, man. You did your absolute best to make every situation work. Because there was times where you'd upload it and they were like, they took the audio off because they're like, well, you don't own the rights to this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, come on, really? You let me, it's like the whole episode, right?
Yeah,
Like you
the whole
uploaded.
episode was muted because that's just the way they do it. And then I didn't even know because I don't get I'm on the road. People are messaging you and me telling us that there's no sound. I have to go back and find out what songs caused that mute just those songs, and then repost it. Mind you, because I was uploading it at maximum uh, definition for high quality. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 hour uploads.
Uh, Yeah, I mean, hell, just to even render the thing, to export it from Premiere to your hard drive takes like an insane amount of time depending on the size of the file. So we're talking multiple performances, multiple audios for, this one episode. Dear God, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you have to clear your schedule to be able to do this. And yeah, it definitely was a headache, um, man, because yeah, I would get messages, hey, the sound doesn't work, the sound isn't working. Or you would hit me up, hey brother, let the ladies know, having some issues with the sound, and then you and I would both make a post, just like, hey, please forgive us. It's not our fault, we're doing the best to remedy the situation. We'll get it fixed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I remember that. You and I messaging back and forth, trying to put out flames while trying to make things happen, and then we're figuring out roundabout ways to kind of make the show still work, like taking that clip and posting on just Facebook. Like, I mean, we were definitely MacGyvering some resolutions there.
absolutely, man. It was definitely hectic.
Um, what else about the show, man? Give me another detail that you liked or disliked about it.
Man, I just like the feel of it. And what I mean by that is just the overall thing. Like, I like the good, I like the bad. I just liked being a part of it, man. It was something unique. It was something original. I know some people might say, like, how is a reality show original? But it was, man. Like, it's all about your topic and your theme. And like I said, nobody else was doing it. And we incorporated a lot of elements. We pushed ourselves. We pushed our entertainers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just an overall great experience to have in life. And um, yeah, man, I'm definitely glad that I have the experience doing the show. Like, straight up.
So, talk a little bit about how we were trying to figure out, um, what the winners were going to get for the show and how to kind of value it to where guys were not, they were putting forth their effort. And also like how we kind of came up with different genres and shit. Like kind of like the structure of the show and stuff like that, like how we should go about it.
Uh, like how we went about it in season one, or if we do a season two, how we should go about it.
Both, because I know we had a couple of discussions and maybe even argument too about how we were gonna do the last kind of part, because once we got down to the
Mm,
final 3 or 4 people, giving somebody immunity was kind of incorrect to say the
right,
least. You know what I'm saying?
right, right. No, yeah, you're right. We, at going in, if they won that week, they were safe. You know what I'm saying? So they couldn't have been voted off for that week, that challenge week. So we had that going up until, yeah, you're right, up until the point where it didn't make any sense. Um, and then, of course, the ladies voted. The most votes meant you're safe. So obviously, the more votes you had, the safer you were. Guy with least amount of votes went home. Um, that still caused the ruckus, which we touched on earlier. um, and then just trying to decide, because we also did a percentage when we took
Bonus.
immunity. Yeah, the bonus points. Um, so we added the percentage of the person's votes, and they got. So, for example, like if someone had 30 votes, they would get a percentage of that. I think it was like 10% or 15%, something like that.
Yeah, I think it
And
was 15 is what we decided on.
15%. That's right, 15% of 30. So, and then we would tack that onto the 30, and then that would be their total score. So 30 plus the percentage, and then that would be their total
Yeah.
score. And
I mean, the thing
sometimes,
we had considered other things, but we just didn't have the options. Like there really wasn't other rewards to give the guys based off of how we did the show. Like we couldn't be like, oh well, your show can have 3 more minutes to it, or you can use guys to help you because we kind of already we left the rules a little loose on that because I really wanted the guys to be able to showcase what they do at our respective clubs. And
right,
so because of that, we didn't restrict them as much as we probably would have in any other show.
right,
Um, One thing that I thought was kind of funny was when we first initially came up with the different um, challenges every week, which already the guys were having a hard time understanding that concept of it. You and I talked about changing the Latin one to the international one. And we're like,
right.
yeah, that seems fair enough. Sure, why not? And then it turned out that everyone just ended up picking a Latin song anyway. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man, yeah. You try to leave it, because like I said, we had hip hop, but then there's various subgenres of hip hop. There's rock, and then there's various subgenres of rock.
mm-hmm.
So like when we hit Latin, yes, there are different you know types of Latin music, salsa, merengue, bachata, reggaeton, like whatever. But so we've made it international, like any country, whatever, anywhere, but something you're gonna hear out of the U.S. Like, show me what you got. Go as tribal, as primitive as you want with it. Go as elegant as you want with it. Doesn't matter. And yeah, it was funny. Everyone just kind of ended up picking a Latin gem anyway, which I mean, I have no personal problem with. I dig it. I'm a music man through and through, no matter what language it is. So yeah, it was funny. And then and then our challenges, I think, for season one, man, definitely were, because it was the first one. They were they weren't easy, but they weren't difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like they were right at kind of like that that that
Happy medium tipping
yeah,
point.
yeah, like that big that medium, like that beginning medium part. You know what I'm saying? Because we're just giving them broad strokes here, like hip hop, use a chair, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, like. So one of the brainstorms, of course, at night I can't just go to bed. I have to sit back, reflect, and then I start thinking of stuff. So one of the things I was thinking was like, if we did a season two, what kind of challenges would we do? And I would get real difficult. And one of the challenges I came up with was a sci-fi challenge. Uh, Now me, I'm a geeky person. All right, I
Mm-hmm.
love sci-fi. I love comics. I love horror. I love, I'm all about it. You know what I'm saying? Fantasy. I'm all. And to me, doing sci-fi in this industry, in this environment, to do a show that the women are actually going to find not only intriguing, but you got to remember that y'all take y'all's clothes off. Like, these women are coming to feel like fulfilled, like a fantasy. Like, there's this gorgeous man on stage. He just wowed me, and then also, he turned me on. Like, that in my head. That's what I'm saying. Like, when, what women are wanting. You know what I'm saying? Be fulfilled on aspects. So to me, doing something sci-fi is one of the hardest things you can do, to be able to, a, Like, yeah, you can easily do the wow factor, props, costumes. That's the easy part. But how are you gonna make a woman interested in something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to me. Like, something like that is very difficult to me. And so I would be, in me just knowing our guys, like I would love to see what someone comes up with to make that interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, for sure. I definitely understand that, man. There's only so many ways you can make an alien sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
The So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the future a little bit. So what are some of the things that you and I have talked about moving on if we do get the support to do a season 2? I know one thing that we talked about was doing take the public vote out of it because we were both disappointed with it, and moving to a point system where no one would get voted off the show,
Right.
but instead they're still fighting for top position every show or every episode, and they're accumulating a certain number of points based on their position or ranking that show, and then the person with the most points at the end of the season is the winner. Obviously, we'll throw in a couple of bonuses and stuff like that just to add some drama and excitement. What else have we kind of thought about moving forward?
Well, and it's funny because I was also thinking about this stuff too. Like, I've given it a lot of thought. I think deep down, like, I secretly have a burning desire to do a season 2, but it's not all on me or you. It's up to everyone as a whole. But yeah, we did talk about taking the majority of the vote out, and us just doing a point system. I think still having guest judges would be great too, to help kind of just have that third person there, for an extra pair of eyes, an extra opinion. I think that helps go a long way. What I did think about is actually eliminating group acts altogether, having each guy do a solo, and then for the bonuses, this is where we could incorporate some fun stuff. For a bonus, each club would do a group routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
The women could vote on which routine they thought was the best. The winning routine, for example, let's say LeBear won the first group routine, right? Then they would get the bonus points, and they would be divvied up equally. So let's say each group routine is worth 10 points.
Okay.
Then 5 players on each team, each member would get 2 points. So that could drastically help someone who's 2 points away from being first. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now they're in first. So it was an idea, you know what I'm saying? So that the women didn't feel totally left out, that their vote still counts, you know what I'm saying? That they can still help determine, the way the show goes, still be incorporated. But I do like the point system. I think that is much um, easier to deal with. I think it'd be better. And then, ladies, pay attention. And then you would be justified to tell me, I don't think it should have gone down like that. Then you would have justification because I'm the one making the decisions. All right. So that would be the only time, ladies, that you would be justified to tell me, I don't think it should have gone down like that. But any other than that, but like I said, man, there's just some ideas I was thinking of. I think eliminating group acts, as far as like during the challenge, it kind of puts a lot more pressure, which is good on the entertainer to show us
What they can do.
yeah, like it's easy to wow someone when you got 5 guys backing you up and everything's cool, but can you hold the show on your own? Can you wow somebody on your own? Because at the end of the day, it's your act, your stage time, your spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they going to remember your guys, or are they going to remember you, the entertainer? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's smack dab right nail on the head. It's definitely one thing to hold a crowd when you have a group out there throwing down high energy, and it's another thing to do it when you're by yourself. The Another thing we thought about was also bringing in 3 consistent judges that are performance background potentially, but outside of our circles of the know. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of gives it a little less bias where they're seeing these shows from a perspective of someone that's first walking into any of our clubs and thus getting a slightly more honest opinion, I think, versus where like I mean, there was nothing wrong with you and I giving feedback because I feel like you and I really were technical about it but there's something to be said about having variable judges. Like you and I assumed what we thought is sexy because we've been in the industry a long time. But when we had females in the judge's seat that could physically react to what they were seeing, then sometimes it didn't really coincide with what we were saying. Sometimes it did. But I felt like it gave it just another avenue of authentication. You know what I mean? Versus you and I were strictly technical. Like, how is your musicality? How is your music choice? Your choreography. And then what we thought was like, oh, yeah, that was too much sexy. You know what I mean? Versus, but we're dudes trying to understand a woman's mind.
Right.
So I don't think our judging was incorrect at all. But as far as like having our form of judging, but I think moving forward, having something a little, maybe bringing on someone that's a dance instructor or a performer that can still add that technical aspect of it. But at the end of the day, it's probably better to bring females from outside the inner circle so they can give it the most honest and wide judging possible.
Absolutely. I agree. It's right. It's hard to determine what someone else of the opposite sex finds too sexy or not sexy enough. For us trying to understand that part for women is, I mean, we're kind of just guessing it. But when it came to the technical aspects of what we wanted to see, what we know a good performance is, I don't think we were wrong. Just we can't do it all. So I agree.
You need both sides of the coin. I mean, I feel like it was one of those things where you and I would be like, well, we feel like you used the chair a little too much. It was more of a crutch than an actual prop or addition to your performance. Meanwhile, the ladies at home are like, there was a chair in that routine? I'm not done sweating yet,
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I agree.
Sweet, man. I think that's pretty much the majority of it. I know we were talking about having everything pre-recorded so we can maintain the schedule.
Yes.
Couldn't really figure out anything more with the music. I guess with having it pre-recorded, I could post it just privately ahead of time on YouTube, and then they'll flag it before it goes public so we can adjust. But that would also help us kind of stay on a schedule and not be as critical about keeping a deadline.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a couple times where we had to postpone it. There was a strip off here, or guys were missing this event here, and so yeah, I think giving all the challenges ahead of time, pre-recording it since no one is technically going to get voted off, and I think that also helps. I think the ladies would like that too, because you still don't know who's going to win, but then the amount of entertainment and flavor that we're providing doesn't diminish with time. We still have a plethora, like we've still got a buffet of sexiness for these ladies, like the whole season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they could root for their guy the entire way and build more of a connection.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. All right, brother. Well, man, I think that is a show. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to go over the show with me, both on this podcast and the reality show. Our listeners got a little bit of an inside behind the scenes peek at some of the stuff we went through. We didn't get into too much detail because obviously we'll save that for the documentary when you and I retire. But, you know what I'm saying? We did kind of show them a little bit of our labor of love and what we may have up on the horizon in the future going on. So do you have any final words to send off our people, and also where can they contact you at?
Well, I just want to say, whoever tuned in and listened, thank you so much for showing my brother Caesar some love on his podcast channel. You know what I'm saying? We do it for y'all. So um, it's always a pleasure being on here. Always a pleasure helping you out any way I can, brother. Um, but to the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. It means a great deal. And then, of course, you can find me at San Antonio Hard Bodies. I'm there oh, God, it is getting late. 5 nights a week, Wednesday through Sunday. You can find me on Instagram, BigXL84. You can find me on Facebook, Gabe, DJXL Cordova. And then you can find me on Snapchat. But once again, add me on Instagram and Facebook first before you add me on Snapchat, just so I make sure you're human and not a robot, because Lord knows I can't tell who's adding me on Snapchat. But yeah, you can find me on those. And I will be sparking up a YouTube channel here in the next month or so stay tuned for that.
Oh, no kidding. Any
Yeah.
any sneak peeks on what kind of content you're gonna be throwing up?
Just footage from events that I throw, and some footage of some real good behind the scenes footage of entertainment aspects, and as well as some routines by some of the guys that aren't necessarily done during business hours. It's kind of hard to put in words, but I guess you'll just have to tune in, ladies, to find out what I'm talking about.
That's right. Well, you heard it here first. Follow XL. Stay tuned for future YouTube channel stuff that's going to be going on, all kinds of behind the scenes shenanigans and private shows. So yeah, check it out. As always, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, Caesar Goyazo on Facebook. That is COLLAZO. You can catch my Instagram or Twitter. It is Caesar LeBear7. YouTube, Caesar LeBear. And then on iTunes and SoundCloud is Caesar the Crowd Pleaser. Check out my Patreon. I got all kinds of behind the scenes stuff, and you can support me and the show. Get all kinds of neat perks, including a thank you card in the mail, personally signed by me at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. Be on the lookout for my Red Charity event August 17th, and XL and I are doing a collaboration at LeBear Dallas New Year's Eve celebration, Battle of the Sexes. We're bringing in all kinds of great entertainers, both male and female, to bring you the best show on earth that night. So come celebrate with us. There'll be all kinds of great champagne, a balloon drop at midnight. All right? Until next time, keep bringing the rain.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you don't. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's Crowd Pleasers is now on. Caesar, the Crowd Pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the Crowd Pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.